Welcome to the Camera Dude Podcast, where we focus our lens on business. We will cover the art of business and everything in between. Join your host, Rob Moorman, a seasoned photographer and RV park owner with over 27 years of experience, as he captures insights from industry experts and fellow entrepreneurs. From mastering customer service to igniting creativity, we explore the common threads that weave through successful businesses. Get ready to click, snap, and discover on the Camera Dude Podcast.
Welcome to the Camera Dude Podcast. I'm Rob Moorman, your Camera Dude and host. Join us today as we dive into all things business and life. So, hey, let's get started. Gang, first and foremost, I'm glad you are here. To my listeners, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't exist. And my hopes are that we can fulfill your life in some way that helps you move forward in whatever it is you do for a living. So, as you know, we here interview folks that are successful in business or on their way and climbing the ladder. Not all photographers, but today we have one that's my mentor. He doesn't know it, but I have watched from afar his career for, Greg, you're not going to believe this, 30 years.
My goodness.
Yeah.
It's been, wow. Well, yeah, I believe it.
And this is my 30th year of business. So everybody, let's get right to it. Welcome, my guest. Let me give you a little intro to him. Today's guest is truly one of the elites in the world of portrait photography, known for creating stunning artwork in the most beautiful homes. He has built a reputation not only as a high-end photographer, but as a leader, educator, and influencer in our industry. Please welcome Gregory Daniels.
Wow, that's an introduction. Thank you so much, Rob. That's wonderful.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that we could do it, and you have AI to blame for the intro.
Oh, yeah, it was very good.
But I liked it, and I tweaked it a little bit. But
I like it. We all use AI now, it seems like, and it's very helpful.
Makes me look smart.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. It's my weak area. And so I utilize AI daily to help me with that weak part of my life, which
helps bring my ADHD writing style into a format that normal people can understand.
Totally agree. And I also have a bit of dyslexia. And so it has always struggled with all the way through high school, all the way through college. And even in later years, when I was president of PPA, I had to read off of teleprompters, and I had to teach these guys how to put things on teleprompters so that I could actually, read a message to people. And because of a little bit of it's a slight dyslexia, So, and you probably didn't know that, and you've known me for all of those years, right?
Well, I'll share something with you because that's what the podcast is about.
Right.
My listeners know, but I have diagnosed ADHD from a child, and a little bit of learning disabilities, somewhat on the spectrum, low level, thankfully. God is good, and I get to, function and live in the world. Somehow married and running now 3 businesses, which I don't know how that happened, but that's the ADHD side. So we have that in common. That's good to know. Hey,
and I feel like that, Rob, what you just mentioned is really a formula for really incredibly creative people. So, I mean, if creativity just flows from that, because I have, what you just described is a little bit about, I would say I have a touch of all that myself too.
Okay. Well, I think you're right. Most of the people I know that do numerous things in life and climb ladders, not everybody, seem to have a million creative ideas and an energy that never stops.
Yeah.
And that's me. I have more creative ideas than I can actually, you can't make them all come to fruition. It's not possible.
Yeah. I think probably one of the things that we have in common is that the way that the energy behind us that makes us successful is our spouses.
Yes.
I mean, my wife believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. So, I mean, that is the power that the Lord has on us to be able to match us up with the right person to fit those pieces of the puzzle that I don't do well. And she believed in me early on, which is a wonderful thing.
Well, I think that you married up, and I know I did, and I'm always amazed that your wife is sweet, she's kind, she's pretty, she's, stands behind you, you behind her. And I have that with Tina as well. So,
ditto. Yeah, I see that.
And I don't know how I got my wife, but
me too. I'm the same way. I feel the same way.
I chased her for a long time. So that's how that works. Well, Greg, let's do this. Let's be a
Yeah,
little informal, but introduce
sure.
yourself. Talk about family and grandkids and all of that stuff. And where are you based out of as well?
Well, I'm based out of Titusville, Florida. We have a studio here in Titusville, and then we have one down in Indialantic, which is an hour south of us. But we have two daughters, and they are married to two incredible son-in-laws. I
Awesome.
mean, they're a perfect match, not just for them, but for our family. So our family's a really tight-knit family, as you might well know, and we do life together, which is really cool. Kyla and Bobby, who are our youngest daughters, Kyla, and they have two children, and they live directly across the street from us. I
Oh,
mean,
I love it.
they moved away, and when they got married, they moved away into another neighborhood, and they just felt this calling to want to live in our neighborhood where she grew up and she experienced life, and she wanted her kids to feel that same feeling and be close to us. And they bought the house. What was interesting is that it came up for sale like out of the blue. My neighbor said, "Hey, I think we're going to be, moving," and it was the same time they were looking for a place, and they ended up buying that house directly across the street, and that's the house they met in as kids. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
they met in
Okay.
that house, and their best friends were in that house, and they met there, and now they live there, which is absolutely incredible. And then I have Ashley and Ryan and their two kids. They live over in Lake Nona, which is about 35 minutes away, and we see each other all the time, which is really cool.
I love that. I love that a lot. And I can see on your social media posts, and I've met your family and Kyla's
Yes,
done some painting for us and all of
sure.
that. So
Yeah,
she helps us every year. We do the debutante ball, and if someone orders a painted canvas, she'll do the hand painting and all of that. And
yeah.
she's good at it. Yeah. But anyhow, well, that's awesome, Greg. And I know that how long have you been married to Lisa now?
Oh, this is 46 years.
Okay. Tina and I are basically 29 and a half at this
Mhm.
point. So might as well say 30. It's close enough. So you're ahead of us just by a little
Yeah, a
ways.
little bit. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I won't go into it, but I don't know if you know this. I have been documenting the Florida Professional Photography Association's historical images.
Oh my goodness.
And it's one of those things where I opened my mouth and said, I'll do it, and
Right.
back with boxes of albums and scrapbooks all the way back to the 40s.
Oh my goodness.
And then I thought to myself, okay, why did I say I would do this?
All right, right.
So I've gotten all the hard stuff done, and I've decided to pay for it out of my pocket. There's probably 3,000 negatives that 120,
Wow.
220 that need to be scanned from
Wow.
people that maybe you don't even know because it's
Well,
going way
I'm
back.
sure. Yeah, that's
But
way
I have this desire to copy that history. But anyhow, I brought that up to say that there's some really good photos of you way back in the day.
with hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, same. I found myself as looking, I was going, oh, that's me.
Oh, that's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
All right. So, for the business aspect, what are you focused on today?
Oh, well, I'm focused on a few different things. One is mentoring and coaching. We do quite a bit of that now since we've been educators for so long. And I grew through this business through having a mentor. I'm sure you remember Tom McDonald.
Yes.
And Tom McDonald was my mentor from the very beginning, pretty much. I mean, when I was 21 years old is when he basically grabbed me and kept put me under his wing and helped me through my entire career. So he was basically my father in the photography world, and so he really helped me guide me through everything. And so I felt that I need to do that too for others. And so we give back, we coach, we mentor. We have a coaching program. We mentor, do quite a bit of that. I was just on a call right before this one. So that's something I love and enjoy giving back. And then we also are still working with commissioned clients. So ones that are past clients or clients that want to commission us to create something beautiful for them. We still work for those folks. And then we do Airstream. So Airstreaming is something we love doing, and it's a thing for us. And so we love going out. Most of our family own RVs, and so I'm bringing that up because and your relationship with RVs. And we've had these kind of discussions in the past, but we just got a brand new Airstream like a week ago. So we're
Oh,
pumped about
congratulations.
we're pumped about that. And we're real tickled. We went from like a Bambi to something that's much larger. So the kids could be with us, the grandkids could come in and spend some time with us there in the Airstream. So
I love
we're
it.
really tickled
Well,
about that.
that's a perfect segue, obviously, for a plug. So, as my listeners already know, one of my biggest sponsors is Sunburst RV Resort, and as a podcaster, but I'm a little biased because I also own it,
Yeah.
and I just got back from there. And
Okay.
Sunburst, Greg, if you ever get a chance to come up, let me know in advance. But it's in Milton, Florida, just outside of Pensacola, and I can send you all the information. But
Oh,
it's
I'd love that.
RV
I'd love
resort.
that.
It's a 40-year-old park. So it's old Florida, but it has modern amenities. So we have obviously house showers and Wi-Fi through the park, but there's an old clubhouse with a vaulted wood ceiling, and it's surrounded by farmlands and literally nestled in the woods. So
Wow.
as an owner, it's a lot of work, but as an RVer, I would go there in a minute and spend time. And with enough notice, you can line all your RVs up side by side on your sites. Some sites are paved, some are gravel. It just depends on what's available when you call. And I'm hoping to grow. We're just
Oh,
had a conversation with the management company that helps me with it. And we're looking at growing a little bit without losing that small town atmosphere. It is 18 miles to town. And the second you leave town, it's farms all the way to Sunburst. You come down this little road and you think you're in the wrong place.
yeah.
Little tiny country road is paved, but it's small. A couple houses, an old mobile home, this and that. And you come by and all of a sudden there's a sign, and hidden in the middle of nowhere is Sunburst RV. So kind of a neat place. And if you go, let me know, because I have a mobile home on the property we stay in, and we'll just make a thing.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds like
that's
fun.
awesome. Well,
Oh,
where's the favorite place that you've taken your Airstream to? Either one of them, new one or
well,
the
we love going to Fort Wilderness because we're pass holders
okay.
and the kids love it. And we're able to like do lots of things Disney-esque right there. It's just a great place to stay. We really, really enjoy going there. And then, I mean, there's lots of other places around that we'd like to go to, but that's would be our go-to. If you were to say, "Hey, let's just get out next weekend and go," we'd go to Fort
That's it.
Wilderness.
All right. I
And
love Fort Wilderness myself.
yeah,
And I think that it's easy camping because all the amenities are
it
perfect.
is.
If you come to a little park like mine, it's mom and pop. So
Yeah,
we're not gonna have people in costumes,
right,
we
right.
do have a guy that dresses up as a Easter bunny, but I've got to
Yeah.
tell you, the costume was kind of scary looking when I saw it. I thought, okay, we need a new costume. So, but otherwise, that's fun. Well, Greg, let's talk about you. I'm going to read right from my notes.
Okay.
Greg, it says you've built something special, not just a business, but a brand and a life. I want to go back to the beginning and walk the journey of success with you. Please share all the ups and downs and the ongoing final success on this journey you're in. So, just the photographers that know you know who you are and the level you've been able to reach. But what was your very, very, very first job?
Mm. Oh, my first job. I was a paper boy,
Oh, wow.
and that taught me a lot. I mean, being a paper boy, I hated collecting. I mean, one thing I really hated to do is going, every week you had to collect to be able to pay, for the bundles of paper and all that kind of stuff that you're doing. But every you had to do that, and it was just something you would walk up to a door, and it's crazy. I'm a small child. I'm like, 10 years old, and getting you see the curtains open and then they shut, and they never answer the door. They're avoiding paying a little paper boy. And so you start learning the public really early on, and then those that will, greet you at the door and then give you a tip, because you're just a kid doing your thing. And so you start learning business very early. I learned it very early on, dealing with people and having that connection. Even though that wasn't something that I wanted to do, I wanted to like deliver papers. That was my main goal, deliver papers. But then you'd also get into these challenging things that they had you do, which is have a competition on delivering papers and getting subscribers and that sort of things. And I loved winning those little awards that you would get a surprise can of something if you won something. So it was fun and gave you something to achieve, and I really loved doing that kind of thing. And then I the next thing I did after that was I worked in a bowling alley. This is child labor laws were probably being broken at the time, and I would have to clean the pins on the balls. So they just put you back in a cave basically of just all these dirty pins. And after school, I would go in there and I'd ride my bike there and clean those dirty pins. But those were my beginning years of learning how to work in the workforce and also work with, people, which was kind of cool. The paper route is what I was able to like collect enough money to be able to buy my very first camera, which was
Wow.
kind of cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right,
Mhm.
good. Well, also, it sounds to me like you learned human relations there,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that some people can be hard to work with, or
Yeah.
let's just say less desirable to be around or deal with. And
Right.
other people are awesome. But I think that's important because what I'm finding is some of my younger entrepreneurs in my life, friends and kids and what have you, are surprised by that. And so it's
Yeah.
good to hear it from you. How many years have you been in business now?
Oh, this is our 47th year. Yeah.
So 7 years longer than you've been married?
Uh, no, we're 2 years.
2 years. Oh, 2 years.
Mhm.
I had my numbers wrong. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Funny. All right. Well, same here. I started this business and married Tina, and she thought she was marrying a rock star. Instead, it's some guy that works really, really hard.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
So I love that. All right. So you used to have another job before this, and I want to hear about it because it fascinates me. It's one of my favorite companies to follow as a fan. I don't know about working there or any of that, but you used to play with rockets and what have you. So talk a
Yeah.
little bit about what you did.
Yeah. I used to build space shuttles for a living.
Wow.
Uh, so, so it kind of it boils back to I was basically my whole career I thought was going to be photography all through high school, junior high, high school, and then I was working for a photographer downtown, and so I just thought that was going to be my career. So when I was 19, my the photographer that I was working for, he went out of business, and he had some contracts still in the books, and he owed me money as well because I was doing weddings with him and that sort of thing. I was working at the photography store that they had, um, and I was just devastated because they went out of business. So I got his contracts, his wedding contracts that were on the book, the multiple listings of all the housings that go up for sale. I got all those contracts that he just handed over to me because he couldn't do anything with them, and he went back to work for a company called Bryn Allen, which was
Hey,
the
yep.
high school photographers, and they wouldn't let him do anything on the side. So he gave it all to me. Um, and and so I had to start my business. So I started my photography business when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And then I come home, and my dad, give you a little backstory. My dad was one of the major people in the Apollo days. And so he was over the pads. He was the pad leader. And so he was, very well known out there.
Cool.
And he made a phone call that weekend and said, just say yes to the man on the phone. And so I said, yes, yes, yes. And I had a job that next Monday working on the space shuttle bonding tile. So
Cool.
I started my photography company and I started bonding tile on the space shuttle. So I was working for a company called Rockwell International who designed and built the space shuttle. And they were the contractor for NASA. So I didn't work as a NASA employee. I worked as the government contracted employee, which was Rockwell International.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, and so then I grew both at the same time. I grew the studio and I grew working out at the Space Center, and I got into management and upper management, and I just kept growing and growing and growing out at the Space Center. And so I did that for 28 years. I
Wow.
Yeah, I ran the path with both of them for 28 years. And we started a small real estate company when I was 19 too. Yeah.
You sound
So
like me.
I have we still manage and own a number of properties in the real estate realm. So anyway, that's kind of like the starting, and when you talk about, they're all kind of interweaved together because they kind of supported each other along the way as we went.
So I would imagine that being there and building that, even though you were building them both simultaneously, being at NASA was quite possibly a boot camp for customer service, working with others, management skills that were learned possibly on the fly, I guess, as you were growing and reading the system and learning it and being able to give back to the company. Um, did that play over into your photography business, whatever you were learning at NASA?
Absolutely. The couple of things that it really did, working at the Space Center, well, there's several things that really helped working at the Space Center, but one of them was, yes, I was being trained in the management world, and being able to bring those management skills and risk management skills and all the things that go along with that. I was able to bring that and infuse them into the business here, the photography studio business. And so we had employees here at the photography studio, and so I was able to, because I knew how to work out there with employees, I was able to take those skills and put them into play here. It also enabled me to create a business where I was the CEO basically of the business. And so the visionary of the business, of the studio, and I was the photographer. So I played those two roles, and they were defined. And so all the other roles in the business were, either Lisa or we had two other employees that were doing all the other things. So I had to build a business where it had to be a little less volume and higher end. It just forced us into doing that because I didn't have time to be able to do a higher end, more commodity business line.
So you started your trajectory to where you are now early because you didn't have a choice back then, and then you continued to uphold that. So, like the rest of us, did you start off doing a ton of weddings and corporate events or any of that, or have you always been on this path?
No, we started because we started our town that we live in and we choose to live in and we love it here. It's a little bit more of what you might call a commodity town. It's not, there's no like Mercedes dealership here in Titusville.
Okay.
Right. And so it's more of a bedroom community to the Space Center. And so for me at the time when we started the studio, remember I was doing the multiple listings contracts, and then as all the houses went for sale, I was getting $3 a house. So, that's not a lot. That's not high end, right?
No.
And we were also doing all these weddings that were on the books, and the weddings that were on the books were $125 a wedding. That included the book. So I was losing money doing weddings, right? On every wedding. That's why the gentleman went bankrupt. That handed me all these contracts, right? So no, we were doing that kind of volume work. Also, we were doing soccer leagues. We were doing kiddie specials, which were like, with bunnies and chickens and I mean the whole gamut. We would do all of that level, ballerinas, ballets, recitals, those kind
Funny
of things.
to me because I don't see you, I know you as who you are now, and I don't remember all of that, even though I've known you a long time.
Right.
And your work you do now. Speaking of ballerinas, I love your competition images of ballerinas that
Oh,
you've
thank you.
learned over the years and have done well with. So
That's great. And that came from that's an artist project that we've had ongoing ever since the beginning, because Lisa, I married a ballerina. I mean, she was in ballet, and that's her background, and she was a ballerina, and it just is it's a great fit. For me, I love revisiting that art every time that I work with a ballerina.
it is a beautiful art. The flow, the function. They mostly know how to pose because they have
Right.
all these stances that they have. Well, next time I see Lisa, I'm going to ask her to go on point for me and see. I love it. That's hilarious. Well, all right, let's see. High school, early influences. Were you always this driven to be self-employed in the long run? Did you have that kind of motivation?
I think I had a motivation to be successful on my own and do my own thing, even from early on. But what was driving me from early on was when I was 12. So when I was 12 years old, I had hurt my knee and I had to take a elective class because I couldn't take PE because we had PE back in those days.
Yeah,
And
remember that?
yeah, yeah. And so I had to take an elective class. And so I took photography for no real reason. It was just I took photography. It was an elective to be able to do. And one of our first assignments was to photograph anything that we wanted to photograph downtown, wherever, just to expose a roll of film so we could learn how to develop the roll of film and print something on it, right? Something from that. And so I went out and I got on my 10-speed bike and I rode all over and taking photographs of, rocks and tires and just old broken down cars. And then I went into a really, really, really very poor area, our downtown middle, in the middle of the town. It's really poor and broken down. And I ran across this man sitting on his front porch. And I asked for permission to photograph him, and he gave me permission to photograph him.
Wow.
And I go back to the dark room and I learn how to do the
roll the
film and
spools.
and the spools and develop it. And that was just magical seeing the negatives come out. And then I'm there printing my very first print, and I chose the image of this old man. And I chose that image, and I see it coming up in the tray. And my teacher was in the dark room with us, and he leaned over and he touched my shoulder, and he said, and he right really close to my ear, he goes, "Son, you have a gift."
Wow.
It just that him breathing life into me, that moment's in everything that I do. It's crazy how an individual can breathe life into you. And we have that ability every single day to breathe life into some other human. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are in the status chain. You could say something that could change a kid's life, could change an adult's life. Just mentioning something to them and breathing life into them, loving on people.
We could close the podcast after that. That's pretty powerful, but true. And
But so true.
I agree with you. I had that as well. I had someone that as my photographic instructor. Years ago, I went to the Pinellas Technical Education Center to learn photography. I started underwater, and I was working at a scuba diving shop, and that's where they had this old Nikon 5 camera. I knew nothing about it, f-stop, shutter speeds, all of that. And I went to my buddy, and I think he just didn't want to spend the time. So he goes, go down to the school. And so I was working in motion picture, not behind the camera, just behind the scenes. And so I took 6 months off. And rather than 6 months, I finished the whole 2-year course and came out and interned with Bruce Evanson, who's on an earlier podcast.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, having said that, the guy in the classroom was Terry Allison.
Oh, Terry. I remember Terry Allison.
Right. And I just saw him. Terry's 80 now, and Tina and I went to his house to have dinner. They play music together. So I brought my cajon drum and everything, and we all played music and brought takeout in and met with him. He's doing very well. He's getting around just fine, and they
that's
still
great.
have their camper and all of that. So
That's great.
yeah, that's a good thing. But anyhow, I'm glad to hear that speaking life into people at Moorman Photo. One of the folks I began in the industry came to you after me was Bill Cadzow. You remember?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So Bill took a class either from the Art Center or the Abner's Camera Store, which is no longer there. The Art Center is still there, though, the Moorman Art Center now. But I think it was Abner's Camera in this little tiny 10 by 20 classroom. And I would teach there every Saturday. I would show up in a suit and tie, and I would teach from 9 to 1. And by 3 o'clock, I was at a wedding. and working till 1 o'clock in the morning. And I don't do weddings anymore either. But I remember those days teaching, and Bill Cadzow was in that class. And
Wow.
next thing I know, he had bought a high volume wedding studio and had turned it around and made enough money to buy some island out in the Caribbean. He's since sold it now, but
Wow.
I told him not to buy it, and I was wrong. He made money with it. So,
Right.
because it was going bankrupt and everything else, and he paid all this money for it while it was sinking, and turned it around. So mentorship is important. But Terry came up to me in the dark room and
Mhm.
said, "You're pretty good at this," and slapped
Oh,
me on the back and just kept going. It's the only thing I've ever won at. It's the only thing I've ever gotten an award for or a pat on the back. I was terrible at Little League baseball. I was
yeah.
terrible at sports. I was terrible at PE, horrible at math. There were just and then I put a camera in my hand and it was like magic. It really
Mm,
was. And
mm.
I haven't looked back since.
Well, to
So
wrap a bow around that
please.
experience, that experience on my end was after he told me I had a gift, he told me I needed to take that picture and give it to that gentleman. And and so the next day I hopped on that 10-speed bike and I went all the way back downtown and there he still was sitting on that porch where he sat a day after day after day. And you could see it. I mean, his life, it's on my website. If you go to About Me, it's there.
Oh, okay.
And you could see it. I mean, it's the very first portrait I ever took in my life.
Wow.
And
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 Greg, for my listeners, before you go deep, what is the website?
so it's GregoryDanielPortraits.com.
All right, perfect. And we'll do
Yeah.
that again at the end for my
Yeah.
listeners. But yeah, finish your story. Finish your story.
Yeah, so I go there and he's there. You could see his whole life. It's all over him. He's lived a really rough, difficult life. You could just tell it just because where he is in this one room shack and he's on the front porch. It looks like he has nothing to give, right?
Wow.
And I go up and I hand him this photograph and he starts to cry.
Wow.
He's just crying and I mean I'm like stunned. I didn't want to make the guy cry, right? And he leans in and he grabs my arm and he holds my hand and he says, "Son, you have a gift."
Wow. Praise God. I love
Well, that's everything I do is to breathe life into other people and to create beautiful portraits for them. I mean, I that's what it's all about.
that. That is what it's all about. And that is a moving story. And I'll tell you in my notes, it says, if need be, dig deeper here, but I don't need, just did it. So that's your motivation every day. And I
Every day.
love that.
Every
I
day.
am I'm motivated now. You and I have been doing this a long time. I'm motivated by the people I do it for. I
Yeah.
still love the craft. I love the
Yeah.
craftsmanship of it. I'll
Yes.
never say that I've mastered it. I did get my master's recently, but what I mean by that is there's always something to learn.
Oh
And
yeah.
anymore, it's about being able to deliver something to a family. One of
Yeah.
the things that touches me the most is I've been in business so long, I have files right over here. I still have them, negatives, negatives, and negatives. And I just had someone come back from a wedding image that I created of a grandfather that has passed. And, the pictures are so important to them, and they're crying, and they needed photos for their service, the funeral service. And of course, I don't charge for that. I
Yeah. Neither do
tell 'em
we.
that.
Neither,
Yeah.
neither do we.
I just print it and give it to him as a gift and,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
But, that's the most heart-touching thing I have. Right after the hurricanes here in St. Pete, a mom came to me with my school pictures, simple school photos. She rings the doorbell at the studio. We have a ring bell out front, and she's standing there when I open the door holding about 20 prints that are soaking wet and dripping on my front porch because her home was flooded, and she's in tears because they were her children, and they were my photos. The kids are off in college now, and, of course, I didn't charge her anything. We printed those and gave them back to her and did everything because the originals were not gonna
Right.
get repaired by any means. So, but that's what we do, isn't it? We touch
Yeah.
people's soul, And
Yes.
somehow God's given us that gift and
Yes.
ability and the conduit, if you will, to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
Well, all right, what's next here? Transformation. Okay, so you did all of that stuff, and then you decided one morning, I'm going high end. I'm not staying somewhere in the middle. What did that transition look like, and what was the motivation? I've heard you speak, so I know what you say, but let my listeners know. And remember, we're not talking only to photographers. There's a lot of business folks that own maybe an HVAC company or whatever that follow our podcast as well, to learn about the business journey and, the direction you've gone in now.
Yeah, it was a little less intentional than it was basically, gifts given to us. It felt like it seems like there have been the right people in the right place at the right time. It's so many junctions in my life, and so here we are doing. We got up to doing 65 weddings a year, so that's high volume, right? As far as wedding photography, along with all these other things that we're doing and working at the Space Center. I didn't sleep, and at the time we didn't have any children. And I'm working these two jobs basically, and this is a very commodity kind of business. But at the time, I was doing weddings, and I was doing them. This sounds strange today, but I was doing them available light, dragging shutter, doing all these things that were not done back then, because the film speeds were so low and the risk was so high, and the way that we were doing it, it was just, it looked so different than everybody else. And I was always in love with, walking through museums and seeing, painters and paintings and old photographers that didn't use, have strobe lights, and they used window lights and things like that. And so I was always intrigued by that early on, an early age. And so I just found it, I liked the look and the aesthetic of available light photography. So I taught myself how to like window light and things like that from a combat photography kind of situation, which are weddings, right?
Right.
And
I
everything's
remember.
different. Everything's different, right? But I started winning some really big awards. And so I won Photographer of the Year several years in a row at Florida early on in my career, and Wedding Photographer of the Year, all that. And it got recognized by the bridal boutique in Winter Park,
Oh,
which is the high-end part of Orlando. And it's where all the big weddings were. And they found us. So they found us and wanted us to work a wedding with them.
wow.
And so it was like we got plucked out of this world and placed over there in that world, and we performed, and they loved it, and they loved Lisa, they loved us. There was this great fit, and they wanted to help. They wanted us to succeed because it was a win-win situation. I had this new look. I was this award-winning photographer, and so they actually were teaching us how to work with high-end people, high-end clients. So they taught us how to price. They gave us the location. They set us they gave us a room in the boutique.
Wow.
So in context-wise, if somebody were to come in, they brought clients basically to us, put them in our lap in their space. And so Lisa was able to, fill that niche and learn rapidly how to work in that market. So that's how we went into the high end. And so we were able to like ramp down this side and ramp up the high end weddings. And we became a very, very high end, lower volume, high priced, one of the highest priced studios, wedding photographers in the country.
Moorman Photographics, where every click captures the essence of life's most precious moments. Our studio stands as a beacon of creativity and professionalism, offering a myriad of services tailored to your every photographic need. Whether you seek a studio portrait or the allure of on-location sessions in the Tampa and St. Petersburg waterfronts or lush parks, We bring your vision to life with creativity and professionalism. Corporate headshots, we excel at those too, providing impeccable quality whether in the studio or at your corporate headquarters. Need portraits for a large team or event? We orchestrate seamless setups for groups or individuals. But our expertise doesn't stop there. From high-end school portraits to photo restoration, from pet portraits to product images, our portfolio spans the spectrum of photographic artistry. Led by professionals with degrees in both photography and fine art, our team is dedicated to exceeding your expectations with every frame. Step into our studio where creativity knows no bounds. Contact us to book your session today at moormanphoto.com.
It sounds to me God set it up for you.
Crazy.
You guys are opportunists, and you took advantage of the open door that he
Yes.
put there for you.
Yes,
And you
exactly.
ran with it. And then the high-end pricing kind of gave you the ability to do that into portraiture. So let's transition for time. Tell me
Yes.
a little bit about that as far as you're saying in the most beautiful homes. Tell my listeners what that is and kind of how you got to doing that.
Well, that was through my mentorship, the mentorship I was under, because Tom McDonald, at the time, at that same time, so as I'm growing in that business, all of a sudden Kodak gets a hold of me, Hasselblad, and all of the other stickers, the race car stickers you get put on. And I was put on all these stages, and I'm a young kid, I'm in my 20s, and they're flying me all over on the weekends. So my life is very full, and it's an ego trip. And my mentor sat me down and said, this is not going to end well with you. The world is going to chew you up and spit you out. This is not real world. This is not real life. And this business model that you have right now with these high-end weddings and going everywhere, it's not going to be supportive when you want to have a family and they start going into into school, and they have activities and all this stuff. This business model that you have is going to destroy you. It's going to destroy your family, and being on stage is going to destroy your ego and your family. So you're going down a bad path, even though I thought at the time it was an incredible path. And he said, no. And basically, looking back on it, it was a path that trained us how to build the business that we're in now, which was, at the time you think, how do I step off of this mountain? How do I get off of this mountain of what is, from the outside looking in, would be success, right? Oh, he's got everything. It's all the success. He's on stages. He's, working with all these high-end clients. He gave me permission to find a different model. And I was in a gallery in San Francisco, and with Lisa, and we walked through this gallery, and it was all these hand painted, realistic painted paintings of ballerinas. A guy from China, and he was being displayed in this gallery, and there are all these spotlit 40, 50-inch pieces of art, and they're just glowing. And so they're ballerinas. I'm just like, this is incredible. And so I talked to the person. There's the piece that I loved was $80,000. This is like an early 90. Early 90s.
Yeah, that's a lot for in the 90s.
$80,000. There's one over here that looks exactly like it, and it was $8,000. And so I asked him what the difference was, because there's this tag messed up. You mispriced this one. And he says, this is an embellished reproduction. This is a new thing. They take this thing called Photoshop. It just came out, and they're able to scan this piece in, and then they have this thing called giclée, where they inlay these inks into canvas, and then the artist puts acrylics and oils on top of it, highlighting the areas, and it's an embellished reproduction. And I looked at Lisa at that moment. I grabbed the pickup card that they had at these galleries. I grabbed the pickup card, and I pinned it over top of my computer at the time and said, my brand new, it was like a Mac, little Macintosh. And I pinned it over top of it, and I said, this is what we're going to do. I can do this. I can create personal art. I can put you as a ballerina in that, and I can create personalized art for my clients,
I
and
love
we
it.
can create it for their beautiful homes that they have. That's where it came
I
from.
can hear and see your enthusiasm just talking about it. So I
Yeah.
love it when things like that happen.
And so that became that card over top of my computer became my lighthouse to change my business model. And it's interesting because he gave me permission. My mentor gave me permission to see. That was the step. It was always there. It was always in front of me. Everything you
Right.
just can't see it,
Yeah.
right? Until somebody gives you permission to see.
Sometimes you're so busy doing what you do, and in
Yeah.
this case, you were kind of rock star in the
Yeah.
industry,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you were loving it. I would have too.
Oh yeah.
It would have
Yeah.
met the me syndrome,
Oh
just
yeah.
quite nicely.
Oh
But
yeah.
at the same token, it's not sustainable. You see these
No.
guys that go on the road and then they get burned out or turn
Oh
from
yeah.
the lifestyle, and so I get that. I get that 100%.
Yeah,
Well,
he told me he said, I promise you, when you get off stage now and you and your girls are off to college and you've built a business that you love, they're going to want you back. And you're going to come back for a different reason. You'll be on stage for a different reason. You will educate for a different reason. You won't have patches on you for a different reason. And so he was so incredibly right, because that's how I got back into when they went off to college. I started getting calls from Texas school and these other places, and I said yes. And that's when I started realizing I'm teaching out of a different space, out of a different reason. I'm mentoring and giving back out of a different space and a different reason.
I
He
love
was absolutely right.
Well, and I can say to our listeners, and that's going to open a door that's not in our notes here, but um, your mentorship throughout all the associations, which I want to talk about their importance through you just a little bit. But your mentorship has turned around a lot of photographers, myself included. I don't have the same business model, but the service, consistency, quality, community presence, and all the things Moorman Photographics has, it comes because I've watched you and my mentor Bruce Evanson, who had a studio here in the same town, and how it was that they did consistently what they did in order to build that. And of course the networking in the community, which I'd love to talk about in a minute. So tell me, because you're past president of the oldest, longest standing, largest professional photo association in the world. Tell us about PPA, and then we'll go down from there to the local fields.
About how I got involved in that, or
Well, tell us two things. How important is it for a professional photographer? My opinion is that if you're not there, you're totally missing the boat. But how has that helped you in your career, and what have you seen it do for others in the industry as a whole?
well, I can't imagine myself finding a pathway to here where I am, which is a beautiful space. I can't imagine that ever happening without PPA, because PPA is where we met Tom McDonald. PPA is where Tom McDonald found me. So I owe everything to being a member. Without being, we went to the very first place we went to was WPI, which is called WPPI now. We went to WPI, which is just a convention. And at that convention, in the trade show, was a booth called PPA, Professional Photographers of America. They had a booth. And Lisa signed us up because she said, this is an association of professional photographers. I think we need to belong to that. And we started getting a magazine, and they had a traveling Winona class in Orlando for business. Tom McDonald and Bud Haynes, they're the creators of all of the business models that this industry works to. They created the models. And I took off a week from the Space Center to go there to study the traveling Winona class in Orlando. And I sat on the front row, and I was the goonie that asked all the crazy, stupid questions. And Tom, for some reason, picked me.
Wow.
He just picked me to mentor me. And man, if it wasn't for PPA, there's no way I would have
And
been able to do what I do.
the reason why I ask is I noticed a lot of my younger peers, and I love them, but a lot of people don't join much. And so
Right.
the benefit for Mormon Photographics is that as well. First of all, I wouldn't have ever met you, right? Because I'm part of that group and I had seen the work that you do and your excitement from your mentorship on to where you are now, and you're still excited.
Right.
And that's a wonderful thing. But not only does it provide that, it provides community. I can
Yeah.
go anywhere in this country and find a PPA member and go have a cup of coffee, or gosh, if I ended up doing a job in Texas somewhere and the camera broke, I know I can go to PPA and find a member and call somebody and probably get bailed out of a
Yeah.
situation.
Absolutely.
And that part I love. But bigger than that is the education itself, ongoing continuous education, all the when you're a member, you have access to all the videos. One of them, or actually two of them, is starring myself, just so that you know.
Yeah.
And I went to convention and saw my face bigger than life on the wall as I walked into the trade show. I thought, I didn't know they were going to do that. I said, what'd they pick that old guy for? But
Yeah.
it was fun to see. But I didn't know they were going to do that. People kept telling me, "Oh, I saw you on the wall," and I said, "What are you talking about?" So I had to go look, and sure enough, there I am on the wall at PPA. But all of the education that comes with it, and then of course the in-person convention is
Yeah.
basically the mothership to me
It
for
is.
equipment, for education, for mentorship, for community friendships, lifelong friendships. But you also get insurance
Yes.
and legal assistance. If you got yourself in a pickle as a business owner, they're there to help. So why you wouldn't join and be involved makes no sense to me.
Yeah, even if you're creative, like my daughter is an influencer, and in that world, Ashley Brooke is her name,
Yeah, please.
and Ashley's an influencer, and I she would be called basically in a creator, right? She's in the creator world, and she does more photography than most photographers.
Yes.
And so I look at her, and then I look at that entire universe that they do not identify themselves as photographers, but they need all the same things that we in the photography world that identify with photographers that we need: insurance, liability insurance, equipment insurance, all of that stuff. If you just join it for that, it is an important foundation that you have that you can lean on just for that, even if you're in the creator work in the creator world. But I think PPA has way more benefits than people know or understand that they can lean on, that even go further out than just the photographers, than what they think of themselves as photographers.
The love that I have for the group and the convention, and listen, there's certain people, oh, it's too people-y. There's always somebody somewhere
Oh
that
yeah.
maybe it's not your cup of tea, but when you go to convention, I don't know how many attend. It's massive.
Right.
Whatever those numbers are every year.
Yeah.
So you just don't talk to that person. There's so many other people that are really loving and caring. So I always say, step off the porch and jump into the crowd and
Yes.
say hi to everybody. And I have so many friends because of that. I just look
Absolutely.
forward to. I told my wife if I ever retired, which I'll probably slow down but not retire, I'm still going to go to convention. That's
Right.
just, for me.
Absolutely.
I just, yeah, the energy, you get up in the morning, come up the escalator, and my favorite DJ in the whole world is giving us music first thing in
Yeah.
the morning, and the energy, and you're going to a class somewhere, and next thing you know, you're having coffee with somebody. And I'll tell you, it's the education you get over that cup of coffee is as equally important as the class itself that you took.
Yes. Yes.
So that's me.
Absolutely.
Well, just for sake of time, you mentioned
Yes.
Florida, winning awards at Florida Professional Photography, FPP online. It's either .org or .com. I think it's .org. And that is a relation to Professional Photographers of America. It's a smaller state association where we meet once a year and have a small convention and education and all of that. And that's as equally important, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that was PPA was not monthly, basically, and this is monthly. You get together monthly, and some of your other groups, the guilds that are connected to FPP. So that's where we did life. We still do life with these people that, Tim Kelly and a whole bunch of others that we do life together, because we found each other in these guilds, which are kind of a network to Florida professional photographers. And so uh, doing life together, doing life in circles is better than just rows, right? And so that's FPP is more of the circle world, doing life in circles.
And then the local guilds, I'm part of the Tampa Area Professional Photo Association. For my listeners, TAPPA, TAPPA.org. Come join us. We've got great speakers, and we had a videographer come in and tell us how he does his world as we see the worlds are melding a little bit.
Right.
And so he came in and discussed what he did. Every month, it's a mellow meeting, pizza and, whatever, and good communication. So that's important.
I love that group.
Yeah, I do too, and it's going good. We have a president this year that's working really, really, really hard for growth, and it's happening. So
that's
I'm
good.
pretty excited to think that. Greg, I'm going to jump into another question just because you've done very well in your endeavors. So, of course, how did you think differently about money early on? So obviously you're doing well, revenue's coming in, two different jobs, and all of that, but what I can see from you is that you've managed it well, you're living a good life. You just got a new Airstream, right? And being an RV park owner, I know what Airstreams are, and that's the crème of the crème, they're the best of the best, solid built, nice product. How did you manage your money? Let the new entrepreneur know that they don't have to get on a hamster wheel. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So uh, my dad was a big proponent at the very, very beginning who taught me compound interest is important in life, and that I needed to be part of a 401k uh, immediately, and how investing in your future is critical. And so I always did that. So one of the reasons we're able to be so successful here at the this season of our life is because of all the investing that we did along the way. So investing it and then letting it compound the interest, and being compounding in the stock market and that sort of thing, being part of that world and investing in that world seems hard to do at the time, but little bits and pieces along the way, if it's consistent, grows because of compounding. And it's become an incredibly, looking back, I go, I'm so blessed that I had people like my father to be able to make sure that I was investing in what was to come into the future, right? In the future. And so we did that way. And then also, like, as working at the Space Center and then working, doing work here, we always took a piece of a percentage of our money, and not just for tithing, but a percentage of our money for investing. And so we've always done the investment along the way, investing into these accounts to be in the future. So, for example, if I were to say, working a day job, which is out at the Space Center, one of the ways that we did it is as I got a promotion or as I got a raise, we didn't change the way we lived. We took that raise and we then just started taking that money and putting it into an investment account. And so we lived, and we still do. We live incredibly below our means, even though it looks like we live incredibly well. We actually live way, way, way below our means because of all of this investing that we had, which gives us the freedom to do and make decisions that fit us and that we want to do. And it's not based on, I'm trying to keep up with my next door neighbor or society as a whole. We live comfortably. We love living across the street from our kids. I mean, we could live anywhere, but you know what? I could live in a gigantic mansion on the hill, and it wouldn't be near as valuable as living in the home that we live in across the street from our children.
So what I see you saying is wonderful, is the money wasn't a god, so to speak, or an idol, but it was a way to build your wealth, and you did it well. My wife and I do the same thing.
Mhm.
And you did it so that you can live the lifestyle that allows you to be with the people you love, and do the things you want to do, but
Yes.
you're not keeping up with the Joneses because it's not necessary. And it's opened the door for you to have a peaceful life. And I like the compounding. I'll give a quick story to my listeners. Early in life, a grandmother passed away. They left me a chunk of money. This gentleman, this certain denomination I used to be in, and they had a thing where you could invest and do all that. Not in the church itself, you were investing for yourself in the stock market. And I was so young, I didn't understand half of the lingo that he used, and it scared me, and I didn't do it. I think I was 17 or 18 years old. I had no idea what all of that was. And now, I mean, I'm okay. We've been for 40 years, I've been investing the right way and doing the right thing. But at that young age, if I had started, my life would be extremely different now with what my grandmother has. And I didn't waste that money. I worked and I did all the things, but I could have put it in that stock market and my life would be very, very different. And we live well. We have a photo building and a house and a rental house and cars, and we're living life like yourself. And we live under our means as well.
Mhm.
Many of my friends are like, "Why do you live here?" And I'm like, "I love my house. I like my neighbors. What else do I need? I just don't." And we don't have to have a fancy whatever unless it's a treat, then
Right.
we'll do something like that. I love that because you set your goal to build wealth. First of all, you set yourself up to be able to do that. And
Yes.
then you built the wealth not for a status symbol or anything of that nature, but to be able to live. And I
Yes.
know you guys, so for my listeners, you certainly aren't flaunting or, it's not like that. I know you very well. You're very humble about what God has blessed you with. So I know that's a shady area. I don't want to uncover your whole life.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. We're an
But
open book.
yeah, well, and it's a blessing. And, I come from a family that also had all that. The Moorman's Feed Corporation was 115 years in business. So that's a whole nother podcast. That's awesome. Well, all right. Let's see. What would be a next question for you? I know what I forgot to ask you. I'm going to
Uh-huh.
hit reverse temporarily. So we talked about the associations. Talk about the benefits of entering PPA, FPP, and your local guild's print competition. What did that do for you, and why is it so vital as growing as a photographer?
Oh, print competition was exciting because, especially because that was, for example, Tim Kelly and I we kind of walked through this career together is in the competition world where we had fun with each other and bantering back and forth. So it was a give and take and help each other along the way, which was fun. So it was a fun activity to do for one. And it was almost a sport in a way, and it also along the way gave me lots of feedback of people that were understood, the elements, the 12 elements that we talk about in PPA, and how to work within those elements. And once
Right.
it sharpened my craft. It sharpened the way that I was able to create my work in a consistent manner. So it gave me it's like tool training in a way, where you can say these tools, once I understand how to use these tools, which are where we equate them to the elements, right? And so as I think these 12 tools, these 12 elements in my bag, as I learn them and understand how to use them and use them at my will, then I can create above and beyond that. So maybe it's like skaters that skate in the skating competition in the Olympics. They have the first things that they skate, or what do they call that? Um, it's where you have to skate certain elements, right?
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, sure.
you have to show your skills in these certain elements. And so they all have to do the same thing. But then after that, and they get scored on those, right? And then after that, they do the free skate, right? Where they get to do their thing and do something incredibly creative. But it came from this thing. It came from the foundation of the basics, the basic work, the tools basically to do that craft. And so I love the free skate now because I'm able to free skate because I have that foundation underneath me. And Tim did such an incredible thing early on, which was beautiful in the industry, is watching him know the know those rules, but then break it. And
Yeah.
he was incredibly good at breaking a rule, and it looked intentional. And if you know the rules, and let's say you're a juror, it's very impressive when you can see somebody that looks like they have complete control of the craft and all the skills and are gives you something that's so impactful because they broke a rule and it's so intentionally broken that is beautiful. And he did that incredibly well early on. He's very well known for that.
I love that. And you're right. And I watched him do that for years. When I first met Tim, if you remember, all those presentations were done with slide projectors when I first instead of, and he tried to get me to take that over. And I looked at what he was going through and I was like, no, I'm sorry. I feel bad because I would have been closer to him by then. But
Yeah.
that I just didn't do it. It scared me away. Yeah, so competition isn't about having a big head. It's not about wearing a bunch of stuff around our necks, although that's all part of the picture. It's about becoming a better photographer. And then when we wear our medals and awards proudly, that allows the new photographer to know who has gone far in this and how can I ask them or what can I ask them to make my career better? So it made you a better photographer. It was
Yes.
what we call healthy competition and
Right.
educational at the same time. And to this day, when I photograph, I hear you. I entered this beautiful image of this lady in a red dress and a gorgeous background, and she was on a chair. And you don't know I heard you, but it's okay. I love you to death. Yeah, it's all he's afraid now, everybody. He's holding his face. It was good. You said he didn't stand a chance because of the pattern on that chair, and you were right, but I was blind to it.
Yeah.
All I could see was the lighting. The lighting was everything was correct except that pattern, so I missed one note in
Yes.
that song, and it sounded terrible because of it, theoretically speaking. So,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, the chair had come from the client's home, and they
Oh,
had
yeah.
brought it to the studio, and it had some meaning, I don't know, and so I put it against my will. And looking back at it, the pattern in it was very loud.
Oh, that's
So,
funny.
anyhow, well, for the sake of time, because we're over time, but we're gonna go anyways, let's do 2 rapid fire scenarios, Craig. We'll have
Okay.
fun with this, and then I'll let you go. Um, just short answer, biggest mistake photographers make early?
Oh, um, I would say not seek out mentorship.
Okay,
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes because mentors will help you, hold your hand and guide you through and help you. Good mentors will not give you a blueprint plan. They will help you choose the roads as you go through that fit you.
I love that.
So they're more like one-on-one instead of, throwing you in a group think situation.
Alright, biggest mindset shift, pardon me, needed to grow. What's the biggest mindset shift needed to grow?
I think it, trying to experience the world instead of being in your own being in your own shell, staying in your own shell and not experiencing other things, other venues, other crafts, other arts, exposing yourself to what else is out there. There's so much out there that you can pull from that I think that's something that is so important in growing growing your business, growing yourself.
I love that. Well, Greg, I'm gonna ask you a question and you answer however you're comfortable with. I'm not a newscaster, so I'm not pushing you for anything, but tell me how your faith has helped you through all of this.
Uh, Oh my gosh. My faith is the foundation. I mean, it is definitely the foundation. And I I'm guided uh, I'm told I'm supposed to love one another, right? And that's what my whole life is, to love each other, love one another, breathe life into someone else. I mean, um, so I was saved very early on, and that word has been with me, and it is just echoed because people have loved on me and breathed life into me, and so. my faith is incredibly uh, important to be able, to love on others like I've been loved on.
I
So,
love that. Well, and you and I have the same faith, and I see it in you. I've always been attracted to that part of you as well because you live this life. You're in the public's eye a lot, especially in the photography community, but I'm sure outside of that. Gosh, there's so many other things I wanted to ask you, and we're there. Second question, and it'll be brief, is how important was networking for you to get around the right clients?
to get around, networking was incredibly important to get around the right clients. As we talked about in the wedding world, networking over there in that world, being part of a group of people that are in the same, working with the same clients, being able to them refer you, you refer them back and forth. It's an incredibly leveraging way to grow your business and get in the people that you want to be around, associating with the people that you want to work with, being part of it. Even in today's world, being part of the yacht club actually is a wonderful thing in terms of networking. And it doesn't have to be just a yacht club. I just give that as an example. It's wherever you want to do business, networking within that group is incredibly important if you want to work, if you want those as clients, if you want those people to be your
So you have to be where that particular type of client is. And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're part of that here. We have that yacht club here and have all of that. And
Right.
it's a wonderful environment to be in, and everybody's loving and caring. And it's just the right group to market to for the product that you have. It fits.
And I always say that the philanthropic world is actually more important to my heart. That getting involved in philanthropic, not just for the business sake, but for the networking sake and giving back. So being involved in something that is meaningful for you and that you want to give back to, you want to give your heart back to, it's also giving because you're with a network of people that have the same mindset, and that you can do life together with. It's the whole thing that I told my kids from a very young age, daily, that put yourself and build a business where you want to live in, not something that you go do a job. I did that at the Space Center, going back and forth as a job. Build a career, build something that you want to live through. And they both did. And it has served them well. It served us well.
I love that. All right. So let's get to this. I have some questions. I don't know if you've ever watched the interviews called Inside the Actor's Studio. Bernard Pivot and James Lipton. James Lipton would interview famous people. He's since passed away, but I always watched that show. And at the end, he had a group of questions.
Okay.
They were actually written by someone named Bernard Pivot, who I don't know much about, but they would use these in interviews. So I'm going to hit you with them. They're short answers, just quick and fun.
Okay.
And we'll go. So what's your favorite word?
Oh, love, as you probably can tell by now.
Yes. I love
That
that.
would be
What's your
love.
least favorite word?
Hate. It would be hate. Yeah.
Opposite, right? Light and dark. I love that. All right. What turns you on in life?
I mean, this is repetitive. It's
Yes.
breathing life into others every day. I find whoever I can find breathing life into others. And I will share this with you that yesterday I missed a chance to breathe life into somebody because I didn't have cash in my pocket. But I wanted to tell you that I'm at the dollar store. We have Camp Lollipop Day, and that's where the kids come over to, I'm Popster and Lisa's Lolly. And so it's Camp Lollipop Day, and I take them to the dollar store to go down and get a toy or something fun or an ice cream. Do it every time. And so we're there, we're in line. I'm in line with one of my grandchildren. We had just gotten a little thing off the shelf. And I'm in line, and the person in front of us, she had groceries basically at the dollar store. It looked like that's the only place she could get her groceries. And she didn't have any cash on her, but she had this card. I guess it's some sort of, I don't know what kind of card it is, but it wouldn't pay for toilet paper. And she had $4 worth of toilet paper. And I mean, normally I would have like grabbed money and paid. I should have pulled my credit card out and paid. But before I could do it, the guy that was stocking the shelves from some other company, he was just a regular guy stocking the shelves. He overheard this lady in that conversation. He whipped around, he pulled $4 out of his pocket and said, "Here."
I love it.
Unbelievable. He beat me to the chance to breathe life into that individual. And I just was so overtaken by the love that I just witnessed in our community of somebody that did that. That turns me on.
And I'll say I'm not going to ask any more questions because that's incredible. And the fact that your kids, grandkids were there, what a lesson that was. They've seen you do it. They know you.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
they see someone else who
Yeah.
is, a great person, but he's stocking shelves. He's not made out of money, possibly, or whatever. And then he pulls $4 out of his hard-earned, calloused hand and gives
Yes.
it to someone else that's in need.
Yes.
I love that. That
Yes.
is what life is about.
That's
You're
what
right.
it's about.
And we don't know. All right. Well, Greg, just so that
Okay.
people can find you, if someone wants to take a private class from you, whatever, right into the microphone, where will you be speaking next? How can they find you? Give us your websites and all of those things.
Well, let's see. Next week I'll be in Arizona for a week, but from there, I go to Colorado. So I'm not sure what date that is. It's the beginning of it's like I'm not sure what date it is. Colorado. I speak at their convention.
Okay.
But if you want to take a look at our workshops that we offer, and if you want to keep track of some of the education that we do, just go to our website, GregoryDanielPortraits.com, and you go under For Photographers, under the menu For Photographers, and you'll see we give we do workshops for embellishing, how to embellish your portraits. We're going to be coming up with a new workshop for wall portrait, business wall portrait, and which is kind of cool. And then we teach at Texas School and some other places that we do that. You'll see those come up on there. So if you want to track that, or you can send us your email address and say, "I'd like to be on your mailing list." We'll be happy to put you on the mailing list, and you'll be able to see the educations pop up that way.
Well, and I have tried to connect with you twice to take a private class with you. It wasn't about money. It was more about my schedule and trying to get down there. And I kept remembering that it got interrupted and
That's right.
or get down there. So I actually haven't forgotten that and would just
Okay.
like to do that. I'm at a point in my life where, right now we're still trudging forward, but at some point, taking pictures of preschoolers and high schoolers and what have you. I love all of those kids, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And at 60 years old, I'm still going, but I know that at some point, my associate who works here with me, Donald, who's on my very first podcast, actually, Donald Lynn, will be kind of the guy. And I think I'll be here keeping client relations going and photographing other things because I won't quit. So, Greg, thanks for being here. Gosh, I want to do so much more. Maybe we'll commit to another one in 6 months or whatever and keep going. So let me do my little outro, and we'll definitely put all your contact information in the show notes. To my listeners, you can join us also on the Camera Dude Podcast Facebook page. So be a part of the community there. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Camera Dude Podcast. Remember, always reach out to those who have paved the way ahead of you for your success. They are a great resource. Until the next one, stay safe, be peaceful, and always look up for directions in life. Catch you on the next Camera Dude Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Camera Dude Podcast. Don't forget to visit us at cameradudepodcast.com for more episodes and exclusive content. Connect with Rob Moorman on moormanphoto.com to explore his professional photography. And when you're ready to hit the road, make memories at sunburstrvresort.com. Until next time, keep capturing moments and chasing dreams. See you on the next episode of the Camera Dude Podcast.